Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
How about that cigar?
How about that cigar,
Ladies and gentlemen, you threw me off there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corona Cigar Studios for episode 241 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube and X and Instagram. Hopefully one of these days TikTok will get us integrated in there. We appreciate you guys watching so much. Take a minute, if you would, please, as you can see on the screen, click on all those big, beautiful buttons. Click on the subscribe button. Click on the like button so you don't miss anything we have going on. And, of course, if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, guys, thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your regular audio podcast rotation. You know, I was thinking about something earlier. I was listening to podcasts while I was doing the dishes. And usually on this show, I say, thanks for listening to How About That Cigar as you drive down the road, work out. Now I can add do dishes to that because I was listening to podcasts while I did dishes. It was pretty sweet, actually.
I was actually listening to all our new YouTube bits from PCA.
That's
while
right.
I was cleaning the fish tank.
That's right. Fish tank cleaning is important.
Whew.
It is important.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is a great reminder that all of our PCA, well, okay, with the exception of one that I completely forgot about, and our fantastic producer Justin was kind enough to remind me. I forgot one. I'll post it tomorrow. All of our YouTube content from our PCA trade show interviews can be found now on our YouTube channel. There's a special PCA 2024 playlist, so go ahead and check that out tomorrow. Put that in your queue so you don't miss that going on YouTube. And
what movie? We can get Justin. Can you jump in here real quick? Because you might have to answer this question too. Remember that movie? It was Fire It Up, Fire It Up, Fire It Up. Was that?
I'm not. Justin, you got anything?
I got nothing on that.
I don't.
Was that Warriors?
Maybe. I haven't seen Warriors since I was a kid, so I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch. The only thing from Warriors I remember is the clank of the beer bottles together.
Warriors, come out and play.
I got to go watch that again because I did enjoy it
show.
when I was a kid, but it's been ages.
He sticks out to me more in that movie than anybody else. But let's talk sports. Let's talk about your Twins and the Yankees.
Today was tax day. I mean, does that mean anything? You guys get your
Tax day.
done?
So if you're watching right now and you don't have your taxes done, screw your taxes. They can wait until another time. Stay with us because we have a great special guest coming up. Tax days today. Whoopee. Everybody loves tax day. Today is also Jackie Robinson Day. So really appreciate baseball every year celebrates Jackie Robinson. Everybody in the game wears number 42. So that's a good thing to remember about today. Screw the IRS. Let's celebrate Jackie Robinson today. The NFL draft starts next Thursday. It should be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen.
9 days.
Yeah. Thursday the 25th, I think it is.
I'll be in Virginia.
I'll be in Denver.
Nice.
You'll
be working.
I'll be working.
Justin will be working. The Twins are off to a extremely mediocre start.
Well, it's the Twins. What do you expect?
It's like, they lose 11-0 and then they beat somebody 11-3. And then yesterday they were up. I'm pretty sure they were up 3-0 and they lost 4-3. So it's just, I can't, it's early in the season, but I already can't with these guys.
My Yankees are doing phenomenal.
Yankees are doing pretty well.
Yeah, they're doing good.
They're okay.
You never know these days. They can go on a slide. I want to say hello to Sean Olsen.
Hey,
one of our Chiefs.
So the NBA playoffs are set. The Timberwolves, unfortunately, fell to third place, which means we have to play Phoenix, which Phoenix beat up on us yesterday in the season finale. I don't think it's a great matchup for us. I was really hoping for the 1 or the 2 seed. The 1 would have been ideal, but I was really hoping for the 2 seed. But it is what it is. This could be the Minnesota tradition of, make it to the first round of the playoffs.
I think they're going to surprise people.
And you're done. Well,
positive.
We'll see. I mean, there's always next year.
Speaking about next year, let's talk about the Wild. Are they done yet?
The Wild the Wild play their last game of the season. Well, the Wild are playing tonight at LA. And the Wild's last game of the season is on Thursday. But yeah, they are officially mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, which is, I said this last week. It's actually, it feels almost better just not making it to the playoffs at all than making it to the playoffs and losing right away in the first round. So there's part of me that would almost rather just not make it to the postseason. I've been living in Minnesota too long. Yeah, that is true.
First of all, what are you drinking, Justin? Let me take a guess. 1919?
I got this spectacular can of, guess what? 1919.
Every week.
And I'm drinking some sparkling hot water by our own Surly. And you don't know what you're drinking.
I don't know what I'm drinking because we're going to get ready to not reveal. We're going to get ready to begin this evening's Spirit of Mystery, brought to us by Postania Cigars. Do you find yourself unsatisfied with the top 10 list from How About That Cigar? Are you wondering how cigars from Postania didn't make the HBTC list but found their way onto other lists? Fortunately, you can be reminded every week with this Postania Cigars advertisement. Postania Cigars, the #1 unranked cigar in the industry. So as you can see, we have a lovely How About That cigar glass with some spirits in it. It is
a bourbon.
A very nice aroma on this glass right here. It's very dark. It's very viscous. It smells like it might be a little higher proof. Let's give it a shot.
What do you think about proof?
Proof maybe not so much higher.
About 87.
Okay, so yeah, it's in the average to medium range. It's got good initial flavor. The texture's not bad. It's got a little bit of kind of viscosity to it. The finish is kind of bitter, but not like bad. It's just that finish there's a bitterness to it, but the initial taste on the palate is sweet, but it's a little bit bitter on the finish, but it's not, there's some cigars that are kind of bitter on the finish too. That's not a bad thing. So, but I'll keep taking sips of this throughout the show, and we'll reveal this later on, what the Spirit of Mystery for tonight is.
Justy, what are you smoking?
I have the Dissident Heretic for tonight.
And I'm smoking, I took the band off because the band was ginormous. I am smoking a Goldie by Cigar Clowns, compliments of our guest.
Of our special guest.
Our special guest.
And I think it's time to bring our special guest on the show.
I think we sure should.
And as always, on How About That Cigar Live, special guests brought to us by Drew Estate. Following the resounding success of Blackened Cigars M81 Maduro, Drew Estate announced the new Blackened S84 Shade to Black. Wrapped in a luxurious Connecticut Ecuador cover leaf, the experience of this expression is distinctly different from the original M81 Maduro, while still retaining its foundational qualities due to the Connecticut broadleaf Maduro binder and finally the filler leaves from Pennsylvania and Nicaragua. Presented in elegantly designed 20-count boxes, Blackened S84 Shade to Black by Drew Estate is available in Robusto, Toro, Corona Doble, and Corona. For more information, please visit drewestate.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please put your hands together. Help us welcome to episode 241 of How About That Cigar Live. Welcome, Eric from Oak Glen Tobacconist. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. It's pretty cool. I told you guys earlier on, I'm somewhat of an earlier listener to this podcast, so it's kind of surreal being on it, but it's pretty cool. So I'm honored to be on. I appreciate you guys asking me to do so.
Oh man,
We're so happy to have you here.
Awesome.
So,
And I certainly hope you're enjoying the cigars.
they are very good. I like this Goldie. I like most of the stuff from those guys.
Yeah.
And they're from New York, you know? They're from New York, so they're good.
Yeah.
They're good like that.
When they get talking, it's like a mile a minute. Just next topic, and it's like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you got to keep up.
So Eric, if you would tell our viewers and listeners what you have fired up.
So I lit up the cigar that we're going to be dropping for the Society, which is our membership this next upcoming month. It's a cigar that I absolutely love. It's one of those, like, I'll normally get on a kick, like on a roll of smoking the cigar we're going to drop for a while, just in terms of like, so I can wrap my head around it a bit more. So I'm smoking the Heretic by Dissident. This is a Midwest only, like, limited production cigar, but out of the kindness of their hearts, Sin and Josh Colburn were able to get us this cigar for all of our members. It's really cool because I'm a big fan of box press. I'm not the biggest. I mean, I like Lanceros, but they're not my like favorite. I prefer this like Lonsdale-ish size, which is like a 6.5 by 46, and a really unique barber pole. Because most of the time when we see a barber pole, we see like Connecticut and Maduro, or like Candela and Maduro. But this uses an Ecuadorian Habano Maduro with a Rojizo wrapper. And it just, I feel like you get that really rich spice, sweetness, leather, earth, like a lot of things going on with it that I think they did an amazing job on the cigar.
Nice. And I have to compliment you before we go any further. I have to compliment you, Eric, on your camera, your lighting, your microphone. You came to play. I mean, you're not messing around. The picture is like, I mean, no disrespect to anybody else who's ever been on the show, but you know, webcams are what they are. Webcams are what they are.
Yeah.
Your camera game is on point. So if you're listening on the audio podcast, keep listening, but then go back and watch it on YouTube and just see the crispness of Eric's camera picture. It's fantastic. I love it.
I appreciate it. It's funny though, because I was just thinking today, I was like, you know what? I should probably update my camera. It's a little old, and I don't know if it's doing its job. So.
Whatever it is, it's a great picture. I love it.
Cool.
Well, I love his Instagram game. If you haven't followed him on Instagram, you need to follow him.
Thank you.
He does a hell of a job.
Thank you. It's it takes up a lot more time than you would think. And then it didn't really occur to me till like when we got rolling. I was like, you know, this is probably a job that most companies would outsource to other people. But what I used to do prior to the cigar shop kind of like prepared me for it. I just didn't know it's like having another like sibling in the house. Like you have to see it every morning. You have to talk to it every day. You have to say goodnight to it. It's overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah. Almost like a sibling, maybe a spouse even. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am also going to fire up a Heretic from Distant
Nice.
Cigars, and thank you, Eric, for that. And I'm going to do that right now on the Zycar Toast Cam. Zycar is the leading accessory brand with innovative butane lighters, precision cutting instruments, travel cases, and humidors. Each product is designed and manufactured with the utmost precision and attention to detail. The result is a range of products that exude quality and refinement, reflecting the brand's dedication to excellence. For more information, please visit zycar.com. There we go. All toasted up and ready to go.
Toast, ready to roll.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eric, why don't you tell our viewers how you got started in the business and about your shop?
Sure. So we officially launched. I mean, we got like the tobacco license and all that in May of 2019. Prior to that, like the location that we're at, we're in a place called Oak Glen, California, which is two different words, Oak Glen, hence the name Oak Glen Tobacconist. People always get it mixed up with Oakland in LA, but we're in Apple Country, and this area I had worked in and lived in. In fact, prior to the shop, I operated as a theater director, like an artistic director for theater company. So I would write scripts, I would direct plays, I would put together sets, do the sound folio, act in them as well. It was kind of like an all-inclusive type of deal. And so in the meantime, while doing that, I I had developed a hobby and then later turned into an obsession of cigar smoking, which I think a lot of us can probably like attest to that. Like it starts off with that. Yeah, you try that one cigar and then you're like, yeah, maybe I should get a humidor, and it's a small humidor, and then that humidor gets to be 2 humidors, and so then eventually it made its way to a 6-foot cabinet that my wife dubbed the second wife, because I was like, you got to be really careful with this thing. It's got like so many cigars in it, and it's my pride and joy. But when it came time to move on from the theater company, it was a kind of a immediate situation. And I mean, my wife and I, we got married young. We have 3 kids, so I had to basically find a new location, a new job within like 30 days. So I took a job as like a part-time thing working for other family member of mine. But in the meantime, our location is in conjunction with like a pizza kitchen and a coffee shop in Apple Country. So the owner of the property, which are good friends of ours, in fact, he's my wife's cousin, they had said, we have people come up here during like apple season. We have the coffee shop going on. They'll grab a cigar. They'll bring one up, or they'll light up their pipe, and they'll just sit on our front porch and just kind of like enjoy the area, because it's really beautiful countryside. So they were like, we should eventually do something like a cigar shop, because they knew, like, out of everyone in the proximity, like I was the guy that was like obsessed with cigars, and I didn't really have many people to smoke with. I was kind of just by myself. So when that happened, my wife and I talked about it, and we prayed about it, and we were thinking, we're like, I'm interested. I'm very interested. If it's my shop that I lease, I just don't want to go to work for another person again and kind of just do like the minimum wage thing with all the like research that I had done about cigars. And when I say that, there's still so much. You never stop learning about this industry, about the craft. And there's people that I've always looked up to, like the Nick Melillos, the Steve Sakas. But anyways, that being said, we proposed having the shop to basically lease from him, and he gave us the okay. And so we started on very humble beginnings. Where we put our humidor, like, this is a hodgepodge building. Like, it used to be an apple shed. So in the back portion of the building, in the 50s, the previous owner, Blackie Wilshire, who homesteaded a lot of the area, brought a train car, a 1913 like reefer train car, up to the building. And so like the walls are like that thick. So we put our humidor in there. And so we're kind of known as like the train car humidor that's up there. Filled the whole thing 360 with Spanish cedar, but the walls are an inch thick of Spanish cedar. Who knew? It's cheaper to actually like freight in Spanish cedar into California instead of buy it here in the state. It's crazy. So we did that. We officially opened our doors in August 30th, 2020. And then 6 months later, COVID hit.
Oh,
sorry, 2019, August
2019. Yeah, timing wise, we've talked to a lot of people who kind of had a similar experience where they started some new venture right before the COVID doors came slamming shut.
Yeah.
That had to be a real trip when that happened for you guys.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And like when we first opened, we were only open on the weekends. I was working 3 days at a different job down the hill, and then Friday through Sunday working the shop. And so we just kind of grew it. We were really blessed to then go to like 4 days at the shop, 5 days. Now we're 6 days a week. We take Mondays off. But yeah, it's been a pretty crazy ride, and it's been, I mean, there's that statement. I actually interviewed Steve Saka at PCA. I was like, what do you think of this, of the whole term of like, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's total bull crap. But what I will say is that you will potentially work a little bit harder because you do love it. And so it becomes all obsessive in a way. And sometimes you have to do the exact opposite. You have to like step back and try to balance that. But we're really happy, and we've been really blessed with the reception of our business. And then we later got online and started our membership and stuff like that. And it's just kind of grown from there.
Well, let's talk about one of your memberships.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have 2 of them, right?
Actually, I have one.
Okay.
So the one that the sticker that you got, that's the OGT Cigar Society. The way it might be a little bit confusing is I sent another sticker called Blind Bunny. That was like a snapshot feature we did last month. That was kind of like in its own thing. So OGT Cigar Society, our humidor is based about 85 to 90% off of boutique small craft brands.
I love you. I love you.
And so I remember, I can't remember who I was talking to at 2 PCA trade shows ago. And they're like, okay, so like what brands do you have in your humidor? Do you have Oliva? And I was like, actually, no. They're like, what about Fuente? I was like, no. And they started naming a few others. What about General? I was like, no. And they're like, how do you make money? And so it really, I don't know. It's nothing to say against heritage brands. I think though in California, heritage brands are more commonly what you are going to see in the shops, especially in our local area. And honestly, the brands that we've carried in our humidor that we do carry, I've just kind of found like if you're measuring bang for your buck, they offer so much that I found that I really enjoy. And then the audience was kind of jumping towards that too. And I think the cigars speak for themselves, to be honest.
And have you found, because we've talked to some other people, in California, and every state has different, regulations for tobacco products. Every state has different tax structures. Have you gone through any struggles with that in general, or just going into it knowing that this is what you're getting into with the state that you're in? It is what it is.
Yeah, it definitely inhibits your ability to buy a lot of bulk because you're having to deal with, here's this heavy price tag that's going to be needed at the end of every quarter. Now, with that said, for now, there's different things when you distribute and you sell out of state. There's different ways to go around. But it's you got to jump through hoops. So our accountant, I had to be very close with the first 3 or 4, 6 months when we started doing this, because it's there's so many different rules, and the number is not like Arizona. Well, it's 21 cents a cigar, or a lot Florida. There's no tobacco tax. I mean, I think in Minnesota it's upper 40s. Is that right?
It's for premium hand rolled cigars in Minnesota. It got better a while ago. It used to be terrible.
Yes.
About 5-7 years ago, they voted by some miracle to reduce it. So we have a 50-cent per cigar tax in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Yeah, I keep praying for a tax cap. I don't think that's going to happen, but hey. Our California, for whoever doesn't know, if you walk into a shop in California, integrated into the price is 56% tax on hand rolled cigars. So,
which, I mean, that sounds high, but if you know anybody who is a cigar smoker who lives in Canada, it's even worse. If you know somebody who's a cigar smoker that lives in
New Hampshire, it's really bad too.
No, it's not it's Massachusetts. Right. New Hampshire is actually really good.
I think New Hampshire is zero tax.
Yeah, New York. Yeah, Justin, you're right. New York, Massachusetts is bad. Vermont's really bad. So yeah, it's Australia. David Floyd, you're right. Australia is terrible. Plus, Australia has all the plain packaging stuff, and I mean. I don't think some people I talk to say we're close to that. I don't think we are. But I think we have to just, be diligent as people in the business and try to keep educating non-cigar consumers, about how different cigars and pipe tobaccos are from cigarettes and vape and things like that. Yeah.
Can we rewind a little bit?
Yeah.
Sure. Sorry.
I do want to talk about this. Over here. I love this idea.
Yeah.
So are you planning on doing it once a month, once every 6 months? Yeah.
So to kind of give a clarity of how the membership works, and I'm sorry, I think no pun intended, got bunny trailed off. But so essentially what we do is the most common feedback I've gotten when we have limited drops. For example, tonight we just made available Wagashi and Bronzeback, which are chef's kiss. So good cigars. But when we have a limited run cigar or something that there's the allocation small, people will I want to try it. They'll get a hold of it and then it will sell out, it'll be gone, and then they'll be like, oh man, well, I don't know when I'm supposed to smoke this because I've only got one of these. So we concentrated on, in the membership, we either drop a very limited cigar like the Heretic, or a custom blend or custom size made just for our members. And you get a 5-pack of that single blend. So that way, the first Wednesday of every month, we meet on YouTube Live. We smoke it all together. If you're a member, you light up the same cigar, you drop in the comments, these are the flavors I'm getting, and then we can kind of compare and contrast. And then once you're done with that, you still got 4 more. And a lot of these cigars are not coming back, or they'll come back in very limited quantity. So hearing that feedback, it's very unique because majority of the monthly clubs are really good at like expand your palate. Here's a sampler of different things, or try these from different brands, which I do like. But also it's like, okay, well, that already exists. So what can the society fulfill? And so it kind of started with this concept of like reaching a community beyond the borders of our state. And at the same time, shining spotlights on companies like Dissident, or we did an exclusive, I think, sent to you from Aganorsa Leaf, or the Cigar Clown cigar that you're smoking, just to kind of shine that. So what we did in the background is every year around Easter, just as a shop exclusive, we would do the Blind Bunny Project, which is we take 5 or 6 random cigars, usually ones that like I've gotten really good feedback on, or they're more expensive, so some people may not try them. And then we deband them, we reband them with just blend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go down the list. And then you're supposed to smoke those with no preconceived notions. Because I don't know if you guys do the same. I know you're whiskey drinkers like myself. There are so many bourbons or scotches that I have missed out on because I'm like, that label sucks.
yeah, absolutely.
Or likewise, I'll be like, that label's awesome. And then I try the bourbon. I'm like, yeah, well, didn't live up to it. So
yeah.
So go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was going to say is that preconceived notion is a big thing for me, to my detriment. And so it's cool because when you light it up, like so many of our members were like either on our Facebook group or messaging us on Instagram or even at the shop. They're like, this one was really good, and this is what I think it is, but they don't know what it is. A few of them were like, I've smoked this before, and it's this cigar. And I was like, not bad. Not bad. You guys have smoked it before. So it was cool. And then the concept is you have that list that you rate them. Once you've smoked all 5 of them, without knowing what they are, you rate your favorites to least favorite. And then on the handout that we always send down is a blend breakdown. You scan the QR code, you put in the password in that like menu that it shows you, and it gives you a drop down of a picture of the cigar, the name, the blend, and a short description. So at the end, you're like, oh, wow, either this is a cigar I really didn't like, and so I don't need to explore the rest of like, or maybe try it again, even though I'm a huge advocate for trying a cigar twice at least.
Yeah.
Or you loved it so much, what else does this company do? So it was a really cool thing. It was very well received. And based on the reception, I think we will probably integrate it into our membership around Easter every year, just because people love the whole project.
That's a lot of fun. And as somebody, I started out with Blind Man's Puff. So tasting anything blind is near and dear to my heart.
Well, you do see something blind every week.
That's true. That's true.
We have
Spirit of Mystery.
Mystery here.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like one of those guys to where it was like, haha, this is the best idea ever, and I came up with it. I'm not going to lie. I think the first like big membership I heard of doing something like this would be Standard and Twain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they do a great job. So I don't want to take anything away from them. But I think for some of our members who haven't even heard of that company, it was kind of like a way to dip your toe into that. And it was a cool highlight for Easter time. So I didn't want to like take that away from them.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm a member of them. I love that stuff. But I just I put about 4 or 5 packs away, and then I open them all, and then smoke them that way. Rather than just doing the 4 or 5 they send you a month.
You do a marathon. You sit down and like smoke them all in one day.
No,
I'm joking.
Now, have you ever been able to like smoke one and be like, this is what it is, and you were on the money?
No.
Okay.
No. I smoke way too much stuff. I used to keep a note. I had a nice leather binder with labels and tasting notes, and
I think
that lasts for about 6-7 months, and I get tired of it.
I think when we had him on the show and we were doing the blind ones on the show, I think you did. I don't think any of us called out like the company or the actual cigar, but I think you called out a wrapper leaf, like right on the money.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
So yeah, it's usually, I mean, calling out the exact company, the exact cigar, that's pretty tricky. But
Yeah.
if you can get one or two of the tobaccos in the blend, that's I think a lot of people would do well to just sample anything blind, whether it's whiskeys or cigars, any kind of spirits, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I will say one of the most unique like smoking experiences and like even room note, like if you smell the room note, it's so unique to itself. And I put it in the Blind Bunny pack. And most of our members, like I don't think I'm going to give away any spoilers because this was a while ago. But our blend number 1, I'm sure you guys have had before, is the Juarez by Crown Heads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So amazing cigar for its like price point and just complexity, but it has such a distinct like flavor note and room note. It was funny. I like walked into our lounge. There's like 3 guys and each of them were smoking a cigar, and I like didn't see any bands, and I was like, "Who's smoking the Juarez?" And they're like, "I am." And I was like, it's so unique. So if there was one common thing I heard people feedback in terms of like that are familiar with our humidor, they were like, "Is this Juarez?" And I was like, "Yeah, the cigar is very unique."
Yeah,
really interesting.
Go ahead.
Oh, all right. So one of the things that we were actually before Eric, before you got into the studio and before we went live, I was watching this thing from sort of a restaurant business expert, and he said something that really he brought out some statistics, and as I'm listening to him, I actually saved the video because I thought this really applies to cigars and not cigars in general, cigar shops, cigar lounges.
Yep.
And he said, if somebody comes to a restaurant and they have a perfect experience, their chances of coming back for a second visit are 40%.
Okay.
If that second visit is also a perfect experience, the likelihood of them returning for a third visit only goes up to 42%. But if that third experience is also perfect, the likelihood of them coming back again is over 70%.
Interesting.
No, it was the 4th time.
No, if the third time was perfect,
Okay,
then the
fourth
likelihood of them coming back for a 4th visit.
And I think the words he said was, "You own them."
You own them. That's basically what he said.
Okay.
And I just thought to myself, man, that just so applies to, I think, because the cigar lounge, the cigar shop, to me has always been so much, not just about the cigars, but about the experience that a person has when they're there. Do they feel at home? Do they feel welcome? Do they feel, that they've been helped and they've had a good experience? So when you are, when you opened and the things that you've learned along the way, and what have you gained in experience and really tried to bring to the forefront so that people, when they're in the area, they say, I'm definitely going back to OGT.
So, and I really like that statistic. That's really, really interesting. It's some of those things to where it's like maybe a vague idea is in the back of your brain, but it takes someone kind of like reciting that to bring it to the forefront and be like, wow, like I knew this is important. And then it solidifies how important it is. And I listened a lot to the Cigar Authority with Dave Garofalo and a lot of his tips and such. I know for myself, I was one of the few cigar smokers that I like knew. Like there's the casual smoker, I smoke at a party or a holiday or whatever like that. But like no one bought cigars and were like on the weekend, like finally off work, I'm about to try this Padron or this Perdomo or something like that. Like I was only good for handing out free cigars when people wanted them. And so I started back then when 18 was the age you could buy cigars back then. And something I noticed about cigar shops, and I think part of it is because I was only 18, but you'd go into certain shops, and I know people have called it the walking the gauntlet, when it's like you enter that room and all the heads like turn directly to your direction. You're like,
oh yeah.
like you feel like, am I not supposed to be here? Like,
right. You feel like you're doing something wrong.
Yes, exactly. And so then you get into the humidor and then the owner's like, what's he trying to steal? Like you're so I like learned body language things like, okay, just like keep hands down at your sides or maybe in your pocket. They don't come out. You don't touch anything. And then it took me being like, I had a name drop. Like I'd always wear my Liga 9 hat and be like, I like my father, Le Bijou, 1922. I like I would name like 3 cigars. And then they were like, oh, okay, this guy smokes cigars. All those things are not what I wanted in my shop when we opened. So how do you fight that? Because you can control, for the most part, you can control the environment. You can create a hospitable, welcoming environment, but it's not something where you control who's coming to your shop. So a very good, like, unfortunately, I haven't seen him involved in the industry as much anymore, but Bovida Rob, he and I used to talk a lot. He's an awesome guy.
Great guy.
And he told me of a time where it's like, if someone is like on their soapbox, I think we've all been there where someone's like politically charged and they're like, this is what's going to happen in the election. And everyone's like, please, I just want to smoke my cigar. So he explained one time, he's like, a tactic I saw that works really well is that you kind of like ask the guy to come to more of a private area and be like, tell me what's on your mind, just not the whole room. And so kind of steering the conversations as best as possible and never ever doing the gun shop thing of like where you walk into the gun shop with your spouse or your girlfriend and the dude behind the counter is just like, how many jokes can I crack to make this dude look lame and really impress his girlfriend? Like, doesn't matter if you're a woman, doesn't matter if you're a man, doesn't matter if you're young, if you're older, you're here to smoke a cigar, whether you want to hear some of the education and history behind it, whether you just want to pick out your cigar that you want and sit down. I want to make that comfortable. So that means like if a new smoker or maybe even a woman smoker who doesn't smoke a lot, it doesn't always mean, here, try this acid. Like it's more of, how do you like your coffee? Do you drink spirits? Do you drink wine? What wines do you drink? Like try to find out their palate instead of assuming you have to start on the fruitiest, sweetest, lightest cigar I can because you're this person. So I think really just creating that environment that it's like, we're all equal here. We all are here because we want to burn leaves and talk. Yeah. So what sounds good to you? And I unfortunately feel like some cigar shops, not to knock any others, but I feel like maybe there's a common thing. My wife and I always go to PCA together. So we'll go to a booth. And if it's a company we've never talked with before, they'll turn to me, what do you like to smoke? And I'm like, well, I wanted to try this sample. And they're like, a Connecticut for the lady. And I'm like, no, not really. No. Like she really likes Corojo 99 from Aganorsa Leaf. So I'm like, that's not a Connecticut cigar. Like, so that kind of thing, I think kind of goes a long way.
So I got a question about your shop. Are all your employees tobacconists?
Considering I'm the only employee, yes.
You're batting 1,000, brother.
But I will say tobacconist in the term that I can say it. Like I don't have like a diploma or anything like that. But I think that a big part of it is like, I would say 8 out of 10. If someone pulls a cigar from our humidor, then I should at least know the company, the tobacco used in it, the blend, that sort of thing. Because one thing I really, really was disappointed in when I was trying to learn more and I'd go to a shop, I'd be like, so this Maduro, do you know if this is Connecticut broadleaf, San Andreas? And they'd be like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. So then I'd have to pull out my phone, look up the cigar on CI or something and be like, what is this blend? Yeah. And so there is that. Now I will say there is another gentleman, and shout out to Rob White. He might be watching. He is an awesome friend of mine and he helps me at the shop and he's also extremely knowledgeable. So on busier days or days that I can't be there, he like jumps in and takes my spot, and he does a really, really good job. He's also very welcoming. And he also, it's cool because he's got a wide palette, right? Wide range of palette. So while a lot of us prefer kind of the medium plus the full blends, if someone's asking, look, I'm looking for a good Connecticut, this or that, then he points them in the right direction. So he's extremely knowledgeable and he helps me out as well. Yeah.
Well, and I really appreciate, the way you talked about, making the experience good for customers and actually listening to them and sort of, guiding conversations in the lounge if it starts to get a little weird or whatever it might be, and things like that. Because what a lot of times, and I know you've been to shops like this before, Eric, I know all of us have been, where you go to a cigar shop and you can tell that the only reason that they are there is to sell cigars. That's why their shop is open. Their shop is open to sell cigars. But in my opinion, and what I've heard from so many other people in the cigar industry, is it's the job of cigar brands to sell cigars. It should be the job of cigar lounges and cigar shops to foster the hobby in existing, but more importantly, newer cigar smokers. And I just really feel like, based on what you've been saying, that you have that same kind of philosophy, that, getting that person that has tried their first cigar or is trying their first cigar, getting them to understand the hobby and appreciate the hobby for more than just the smoke, and where they almost leave wanting to learn more and wanting to know what the next blend is going to be. I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah, no, education's always been a big part, like at the forefront. And like what we did, like the most common thing when you walk into a shop, of course, you're like, you see the boxes on the shelf, and then either they'll have it priced one of two ways. They'll have it like priced on the box, or they'll like do a sticker price on every cigar showing you it's $12.95 or whatever. What we ended up doing, and I'm not saying like this was revolutionary, but it's definitely helped us a lot, is where at the base on the shelf, at the base of the box, we have a small card, and it shows the company who made it, the name of the cigar, the size and its dimensions, the wrapper, the binder, the filler, and the strength. So that way, when people like walk in, then they see like, okay, I'm a huge fan of Connecticut Broadleaf. Tabernacle here from Foundation is Connecticut Broadleaf. What other Connecticut Broadleafs are around here? And if at some reason I'm not available to kind of like point them in the right direction, they can look at those cards and be like, oh, here's another Connecticut Broadleaf or something like that. So it kind of helps in that realm. Because I know for me, when I was learning things, that's what I wanted to know. And not to say everyone's a cigar nerd or wanting to find this out, but it was extremely helpful, because I would think like Maduro, all Maduros taste like this. Well, it's like, well, not all red wines are Merlots. Not all red wines are Cabernets. So finding out, and then you go from wrapper leaf, and it's like, well, it could be a Connecticut broadleaf from Dominican or Nicaragua or Honduras. So those types of things, I think, are really what we've tried to push, even on like our YouTube channel or on our Instagram. And I've had a huge I've been really blessed with a good friendship of mine. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tim Swanson of Cigars Daily.
Oh, love that guy.
Yeah. Awesome guy. And he's kind of helped navigate a lot of those things. I'll ask him some questions, and we'll talk and text each other back and forth. But yeah, it's been a big helpful. He's a wealth of knowledge, and so whatever I can pull from there. But yeah, education is definitely a big thing.
Well, and you're basically making your own shelf talkers, which there are not a lot of shops out there that are willing to put in that kind of work, because it's a lot of work. And
it is.
A lot of shops, like you said, somebody will be working in the shop that day and they won't really know anything about the blends. They won't. They'll say, oh, it's got a pretty red band on it, and the wrapper leaf looks a little bit lighter than the one next to it. I guess it might be mild, might not be. And you put in the work to basically make your own.
The guys in the lounge like this one.
Yeah, the guys in the lounge like this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't want to, again, I don't want to throw shade on other shops. Hence, I will not mention any names.
We'll do it for you. You don't have, we won't name names, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I will say, and I think I've heard Skip from Roma Craft say stuff like this. And there's a lot of things Skip will say, and I'm like, that's interesting. I never thought of it this way. But the time I was like, I agree with you on this, is that unfortunately, I feel like the common trait is that cigar shops are very lazy.
Yeah.
It's a lazy group of people.
Yeah. He says that a lot.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong.
And I remember when I was like thinking about like opening the shop beforehand, and people would be like, would you ever want to have your own brand? And I've like thought of having, and I'm like, honestly, I don't think I would. It would be so much headache. And it's like I look at amazing companies, amazing cigar companies, like Stallone, like Black Label Trading Company, like Foundation, like, and the list goes on. That I'm like, these cigars are so good, but I think a barrier to get into shops is that you, to some degree, some of these places you have to hand sale this cigar. You've got to give where it's coming from, why it's unique, why it's so good. And some people don't want to even do that. They just want to be like, I put it on the shelf, it's sold, I don't want to have to deal with it. And to me, I'm like, that if this whole business was just about moving inventory, I'd probably get bored really quick. Yeah.
Huh, I know somebody like that.
Well,
There goes cigar aficionado. This is what's in my humidor.
well, one of the things I'm curious about, and again, we're going to go down this road. We're not going to name any names because it's real. I'm not throwing shade with this. I'm genuinely curious.
Remember, burn cigars,
not bridges. That's right.
There you
That's
go.
right. But I'm genuinely curious from every shop owner that I talk to is obviously if you have cigars that aren't selling, that's going to be a reason to consider, phasing them out and discontinuing them. But there could also be other reasons. So besides just a brand that isn't selling, even if you're putting the same shelf talker effort and there's cigars that you enjoy and you would think your consumers would also enjoy them, for whatever reason they just don't move. But aside from the not selling part, what other reasons either have led you in the past or would lead you in the future to say to a brand, I just don't think this is going to work out anymore?
So that's a really good question, and it's a dilemma I've had to face, and I'm not a fan of at all. And it's kind of like, I mean, like I said, I used to do like playwriting and such like that, and there was something that always stuck with me, and it kind of can play into different industries. But I think it was Hemingway who wrote, "Sometimes you have to kill your darlings," and there is several brands that I have absolutely loved, and I cannot figure out why they're not moving as well as brand X. Like certain cigars will just on their own, they just move. And again, proof's in the pudding, but there's a lot of brands that I absolutely love that I've had to move on from. And we had to actually make some of those decisions this year because when you go to the trade show, you're like, those cigar brands that are not selling, that's going to be taking up real estate that is very precious, especially when it's a humidor is not as like crazy big as some of the other shops. So I think you can't just be like, well, I haven't really talked about it. I haven't really posted about it. I haven't really pushed it. And it's been 2 months and they're not selling by themselves. Like, I don't think that's a good enough reason. You have to start trying tactics where this works on other companies and other brands, whether that's verbal, like presentation, whether that's shelf talking, whether that's specials, deals, limited products, whatever you want to do. You got to kind of exhaust some of those avenues. And then at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So there's a handful of brands that we've had to drop through, and it's hard, especially when like someone at the shop will be like, oh yeah, what about this brand? And it's like, I'll tell them, like, I still love their cigars. I really, really enjoy them. Unfortunately, I just couldn't find a market for it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, because as much as the humidor is kind of reflective of the palate of our consumers and myself, you can't just stock things on the shelf that are just because I like them. Like, that's not enough of a reason. So
that's a good point. And kind of on the flip side of that, have you taken a chance in the past? What are one or two brands that you've taken a chance on that maybe you were not necessarily skeptical, but just saying, okay, I'm going to take a flyer on this one. And then all of a sudden they just sold like crazy and they took off more than you even expected they would?
Honestly, one of them, and this has nothing to do at all with the cigars or the brand, has everything to do with California tax and price point. Is one of the biggest ones was Dunbarton, because Dunbarton is not a budget brand. They are high quality, like amazing blends, and I feel like they're appropriately priced. But in California, they're pretty expensive when you tack on that 56% tax. So I remember hearing something, I can't remember who said it. It was very early on. And I took it to heart when they're like, when you are, whether at a trade show or talking to a company, and you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to bring this company in or this brand or whatever, and you shake the person's hand, that's your contract. There's no backing out after that. And I've always taken that to heart. Like if I shake that person's hand, we are bringing in that company. So I remember it was about 2 or 3 years ago. And at the time, Dunbarton wasn't really accepting new accounts, but I had been talking back and forth and emailing for a long time. And I set up a meeting with Cindy Saka. We sat down and talked, and I was like, I really want to make this happen. And she was like, okay, well, here's our price point, but here's all the minimums kind of. And for us, it was a lot at the time because we're a new company. And then I said, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to come back to the booth later, and then we'll go ahead and finalize it then. She said, okay. And I shook her hand, and then immediately I thought in the back of my brain, like, you just bought Dunbarton. But then, I mean, to Steve's credit, I mean, I had him later on, I had him on our live show, and I was like, yeah, we're really excited. And he's like, you do realize like the first order doesn't mean anything, right? It means like we're in your shop, but that doesn't mean anything. They're like, you have to do the reorder. But thankfully, Dunbarton's been a big brand for us. And again, I think it's a testament to his blending and a superior quality. Another company was Stallone Cigars. I don't know if you guys have ever smoked Stallone before.
Oh yeah. We've had Tony on the show before. He's good. He makes good stuff.
He does. And he's actually done a lot of customs for us. He is a fantastic Nicaraguan broadleaf brushfoot that is being released as an exclusive blend through our membership later this year. Can't wait to drop it. It's so good.
I had a pre-release of that.
Oh, nice.
Last year sometime. Yeah, very good cigar.
And so he was a brand that really took off. Again, it's proofs in the pudding with his cigars. So we've kind of at this point, which is helpful, we've kind of learned where the sweet spot to some degree is on terms of like what we carry and what our consumers really enjoy. One that it doesn't sound like it's a risk because it's such a good company and a lot of people carry them, but it's just new to us was Crown Heads. We brought them in earlier this year and the reception's been beautiful.
Yeah. Those, you see, it's interesting because, you know, the companies you just named are companies that are, they're relationship people. They're relationship driven. And, you know, it's funny because Steve Saka might come off and sort of put on this facade that he's this sort of grumpy old man and all this, but he's not. He's a really nice guy. He really knows what he's talking about when it comes to tobacco.
Oh yeah.
And he also really knows the business because he's been in the business in so many different areas for so long. And, you know, he's sort of earned the right to be skeptical about certain shops carrying his products because he knows what it takes, especially like you said, especially with a line or a brand of cigars that has a generally higher price point than a lot of other brands that are available. So, but yeah, those brands you mentioned, those are they're handshake driven, they're relationship driven brands.
Yeah, and
they're not just commodities. That makes a big difference.
I agree. And it's been really cool in terms of like Stallone to name like some of the people that have been just like how you're saying relationship driven, that have become really close, like friends of ours as well, who have eventually also done a lot of like blending for us in our membership. So like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Paul Stulak at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul Stulak's an awesome guy.
Meeting.
Yeah. And he did a blend for our membership last year, and he's doing a blend for us this year. And someone asked me, they're like, how did you get Paul Stulak to do a blend for you? Like, this guy doesn't really do blends for a lot of people. And as Paul put it, he's like, well, I like you guys and you don't annoy me. I'm like, well, cool. Like, there you go. And so like, he's done amazing blends for us. And so doing those relationships have resulted in really awesome projects. One that I'm really excited about is I'm sure you guys have smoked Black Starline.
Oh yeah. I love what Eric Bay is doing.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. So he's coming out with a very exciting project with Espinosa, his 5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So we were talking later last year. And I was like, we featured your guys' a Rosewood in the membership. I want to do something special. So he afforded us the opportunity. We are doing our own like exclusive size for our membership for his 5th anniversary cigar.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, really cool. And it's a box press Lonsdale closed foot. It's so good, so good.
I mean, you had me at Lonsdale.
Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, you had me at Black Star Line.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really hit the ground running in the industry, and he's been one of our favorite sort of newer brands to watch them grow.
How can you not like him? He's a fireman.
He's a fireman.
Yeah,
How can you not like him?
There you go.
So when it comes to this, and we never necessarily, I shouldn't say never, we rarely remember to ask this question to shop owners, but always curious about if you have a quote unquote house blend or a house roll in your shop.
So we do. We have 3 different blends that are produced in Nicaragua, and it took us a year to be like, we're okay, like with putting our name on these cigars.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, I feel like there are a lot of like house blend rolled cigars out there that just don't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be a situation of like, oh yeah, well, they just are really crappy cigars, but they're budget. So yeah, we have a Connecticut, we have a Corojo 99, and we have a Maduro. And being that we have a train car integrated into kind of the history, is we chose like slang term, like train car slang term names for them. So like our Connecticut is called the Ash Cat, which an Ash Cat is basically like the train's fireman, essentially, that was on there. Our Maduro is called the Night Owl, which is basically a late night passenger train. Iron Horse is, of course, like a really big locomotive, and that's our medium. So we're also dabbling in some blends with, there's a company that we've featured a lot. They're awesome people. They're called Shafio Cigar Collection. And actually, Raul, the Goldie is produced, the cigar you're smoking is produced by the Cigar Clowns, but in partnership with Shafio. So Shafio is really cool because a lot of their proceeds go to fight human trafficking. So it's a really cool like project. But the factory that they work with and the blender they work with, he's got some really good, interesting cigars that we might be integrating soon to our house blend, basically.
Nice. I like it. Well, if you don't have any other questions,
I think it might be time.
It's time.
Is it time?
It's time.
All right, guys, it is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. And as always, Numero de los Muertos brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn.
Honestly, agree with the goat to tell you about Smoke Inn's Cigar of the Month Club. Every month, I personally handpick 5 premium cigars. Another great feature is our Double Down Club. With a simple check mark, you can get double this great selections every month and save $10. Every month, there's a special discount code where if you like any of the selections, you can get them at a special discounted rate for our Cigar of the Month Club members. We've made it super simple. All you gotta do is log into your account. There's a little green button there. If it's green, you're active. You want to take a break, going out of town, simply hit the button and you'll deactivate your membership. We get the stuff out on the 28th of every month. Our membership bills on the 28th, and we get every member's package out on the 28th if it's a shipping day. All delivered to your door for $34.95. 5 great reasons on what makes Smoke Inn Cigar of the Month Club the best club out there. Check it out. Peace.
All right, Numero de los Muertos, episode 241. Who's ready?
Is it one?
It's not, actually. I know.
Holy
Wow.
cow.
I know. We're jumping outside. We've been on kind of this trend of where the number has been 1. This week, the number is 2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, he one-upped it.
For a minute there, I was like, oh, I get an easy one, eh?
Yeah, the number is 2. And Eric, if you're familiar with it, you get to play 20 questions along with Raul and Justin and our viewers in the comments, trying to break down and whittle down to the, what's the cause of why these 2 unfortunate souls passed.
Now, is this the first question I would have? Is this in a particular country or is this worldwide?
This was this particular. So I did find some occurrences with different causes, but there's some relation to this particular cause. This one incident happened in one country. It was a one-off, at least what I could find.
It's not. Were they at the same time?
Yeah, both people died in the same incident.
Not by trampled by a herd of donkeys from
Donkey.
Trampled by a herd of
Hey,
donkeys.
donkey.
No, donkeys were not involved.
Okay, not the donkey show.
Not the donkey show.
Okay.
Were animals involved?
Animals were not involved.
What about a vehicle of some kind?
Vehicles were involved. Yes. See, you've listened to the show.
What was this vehicle on land or water?
Land.
Land.
Was this vehicle suspended in the air, or just literally on the land?
On ground.
Okay.
And does this vehicle have wheels?
Both vehicles have wheels.
So 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Death by Vespa.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to look that up. No, it's not that. It's not that. Yeah, it was wheeled vehicles on land.
Motorcycles?
No motorcycles.
Automobile?
One was an automobile.
Other one was a bicycle?
Nope.
So the automobile hit somebody else.
I'll say the 2 people who died
Mm-hmm.
were in the automobile that was struck by something else.
Lightning.
A train.
Not lightning.
Okay.
Not a train.
Dump truck collision?
Not a dump truck.
It wasn't one of those like Fabio things where it was like hit by a goose, was it?
No, not a goose.
Did they get jackknifted by a semi?
Was it a fire truck?
It was a semi-type
Like
truck.
A type truck, like a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a hook and ladder fire truck?
Yeah. No, not a fire truck.
Oh.
It was a semi-truck. But so the people in the vehicle, the people in the car,
We're participating in a particular activity.
yes.
Is it like parenthood type deal?
Were they having sex in the car?
They were having sex in the car.
And the truck came around the corner and decapitated them both?
So they had actually, I mean, to their credit, they did pull off the road onto the shoulder.
Okay.
So this happened in 2010 in Brazil. A semi-trailer truck on a fog-shrouded highway slammed into a car parked on the shoulder, killing a couple that stopped to have sex.
I can think of worse ways to go.
Highway police spokeswoman said the impact of the collision was so strong that the body of the woman was hurled outside the car and subsequently run over by other vehicles.
Now, are you talking about the impact of the car or the impact of something else?
Well, I'm going to go with the car.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and if it wasn't the car, good for him.
Well, bad for him because he died, but
yeah. The man died instantly inside the car. Because of the thick fog, the truck driver apparently did not see the car on the shoulder. The truck driver did not stop after the collision either.
Ooh,
just kept on going.
Rude.
Yeah.
He went to jail.
So, well, it's Brazil. You never know.
Yeah. What a way to go.
What a way to go. I mean,
I can think of worse ways.
I can think of worse ways, but yeah, if you're gonna do that in your car, go
to a cemetery or something, I mean, come on, that's what I did. Allegedly.
You're not going to disturb anybody there, at least.
Oh,
hey, Eric, we
Rich.
never found out what you were drinking tonight.
Oh, I don't know if you guys have ever drank anything from Balcones.
No.
Balcones
Texas
is a
whiskey.
Texas single malt, pot distilled. It's 106 proof, so it's a touch bit hot, but it's pretty smooth. We actually we had this featured. What we'll do, we'll do an event at the shop where we like call it a tasting night. We'll get a hold of like a special cigar and a special whiskey. In this case, it was Balcones, and we'll all pair the same drink with the same cigar. So we like compare notes and such like that. So we paired that with a exclusive we did called the Freedom Fighter. It's a Brazilian Matafita Maduro, and like the sherry like notes and the like fruitier, sweeter notes with the barrel spice of Balcones that was mixed with like the Brazilian Matafina, like rich, like espresso. It worked really, really well.
So I have a question for you. Seeing that me and Justin don't drink alcohol, what do you do with your guests at the shop that don't drink when you're doing that pairing? Do you offer root beer, cream soda, coffee?
We yeah, I would say our number one is coffee. Like we'll also do coffee mornings. We just did one where we pair cigars with coffee. It is, but I think I'm a little biased because like if I'm not drinking an alcoholic beverage, then coffee is my number one go-to. There is something about, I don't know if you guys have like experimented with Aganorsa cigars and coffee, but their Corojo 99 tobacco with a straight black coffee, no sugar, no sweetness. So good. So good. So we do that. And then a lot of times, honestly, what our customers prefer to do is they'll bring their own like sweet tea or soda and such like that, and they'll just opt out of the drinking, like pairing.
Okay. Well, for future reference, craft root beers and craft cream sodas are phenomenal with cigars.
Okay, I've heard that about cream soda for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard some people like on the train of Dr. Pepper cream soda, like people love that.
Yeah,
that was all right for a while. I got on the kick for 6 months.
Okay.
I have to give a shout out to viewer Rich Jordan. His question was, the guy, going back to Numero de los Muertos, was the guy beheaded? I see what you did there, Rich.
Oh man,
I see what you did there. Well played. Well played. That was this week's Numero de los Muertos. All right, so the reveal for this week's Spirit of Mystery, I'll say that this bourbon was good, but it was a little kind of Johnny One Note. It was good. It had there was sweetness, there was a little bit of the bitter finish kind of dissipated, which it's common that the more you drink it, the more any kind of harshness is going to go away. That was the case with this one. I don't dislike this bourbon. I just it tastes a little one-dimensional to me.
So this was a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in a red wine barrel. And you've had this before at my house.
I don't get the red wine barrel at all. The Agitator Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in red wine barrels, 86 proof. Agitator. Yeah. I know I had tried that before at your place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get the wine barrel finish.
No, my wife does the opposite. She likes the wine that's from these guys that's aged in bourbon barrels.
Okay. Yeah. There have been some barrel aged wines. I mean, some like bourbon barrel aged wines that my wife and I have enjoyed quite a bit. But yeah, this one, I mean, again, not a bad bourbon by any stretch. It's a good pour.
Lucky it was free.
It just seems a little,
Have Matt, have you heard of or tried Nelson Brothers?
Neither. I haven't heard of or tried.
So they're a whiskey. I mean, they're basically a straight bourbon, but I think I mean, they say bourbon, but they're produced in Tennessee. I stumbled on them like 4 months ago, and like I get a lot of happiness when I find a whiskey that's like in the right price point of like between 40 and like $55.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this one like drinks way above its price point. I definitely recommend it if you get an opportunity. It's really good.
Nelson Brothers.
I'm gonna check that out because I have found that I do enjoy some Kentucky or some Tennessee bourbons. Because Tennessee's more known for Tennessee whiskey, Jack Daniels, that kind of thing. But there's some bourbons true bourbons being made in Tennessee that I think are very good. There's some Dickel products I think that are outstanding. I think there's some Heaven's Door products that are outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Nelson Brothers. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Might have to add it to collection.
Absolutely.
Next month is tequila.
Next month is tequila month.
There you go.
Oh, I can't
kill you.
I can't wait.
Mhm.
Well, let's jump into the lightning round. Brought to us by our friends at J.C. Newman Cigar Company, America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and The American. J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 113-year-old El Reloj cigar factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right, Eric, some fun non-cigar related questions for you. First and foremost, if you were about to get into a fight, what would your soundtrack music be?
What would it be, or what would I want it to be?
What would you want? So you're the main character in your life. You're the main character in the movie, and your big fight scene is coming up. What comes on?
Have you guys seen the movie Drive?
Oh yeah.
I love that movie because it has, like, I think the common response for a lot of people would probably be something really hyped up and really like fast and stuff like that. But for me, there is a deliberate weight and gravity to, like, there's the scene when he's like with his girl in the elevator and there's the hitman that's about to kill him and they're like making out. Yeah, and he turns around, like stomps the dude's head in, like something that, or even like the new Batman movie, it's like a haunting melody. So I'd probably say something that's like synth wave, like 80s synth wave, that's just got a lot of gravity to it. That's probably what I would want it to be.
I love it because I agree. I agree. I said the same thing when somebody asked me the same question. It's well, I kind of went more like opposite spectrum, like something light and like almost happy music. But yeah, the dark stuff, like what they did in Miami Vice and that kind of thing, that I love that kind of thing because it's like a contrast.
Yes, exactly. And there's a deliberate to it. I mean, I guess you could go like the Deadpool route and have like Call Me Angel or something, but
I like that too.
I like Lunatic Fringe.
Lunatic Fringe.
Red Rider. I think it's Red Rider.
I think so. Yeah.
Now, to be completely honest, I know that I've been watching the show for some time, but I haven't seen like towards the end portion because honestly, a lot of the times I listen to the show is when I'm in the car driving. So you get to destination, turns off stuff. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. Is one of the most common answers you guys get Eye of the Tiger?
It's a very common answer.
Yeah, I would assume.
Very common answer.
It just seems like it lends itself.
Or the Rocky theme song, or a lot of people say Metallica. We hear a lot of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And, nothing wrong with all that stuff. I think it's all great.
Yeah.
No Mozart.
Yeah. There are no wrong answers.
That's right. There's a really good scene in the movie Nobody with Bob Odenkirk.
What a great movie.
When he's in the bus and it's I Gotta Be Me and he's just like killing people. It's so good.
Oh, it's such a cool scene. All right.
So, Eric, what is the most overrated and underrated fast food out there?
So, like, two different
answers. First your most overrated, and then what's your underrated?
This is probably going to be dependent on West Coast. Like, I bet this is going to be a little bit different than you guys because
that's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
We get people from all over the country, so it's all good.
I honestly do not know how Jack in the Box is still in business.
I've never had it, so
it's like they have Hardee's and Jack in the Box. They're similar, but like a Jack in the Box is on the other side of the country, and then Hardee's like we have up here, Carl's Jr. and stuff like that. But Jack, in the Box,
like if you look, if you ever like want to go to a business and it shows like it's like this is its slow hours and busy hours. Jack in the Box, I'm assuming, has got to be like. Busiest time is like 1 o'clock when all the people that are stoned and way drunk need something to eat real quick. And they're going to pay for it in the morning. Like that's what Jack in the Box is for. I don't understand it.
Sounds like White Castle.
We used to call it Jack in the Crack.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Underrated. I don't want to sound like I'm too mainstream, but honestly, like 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna go with Wendy's.
Okay.
Wendy's is good, and this is coming from a state that has In-N-Out. Like,
yeah, In-N-Out, I could take it or leave it. It's for me, In-N-Out. You literally, you have to sit down. They have to cook the food fresh. You have to get fries that literally just came out of the fryer, and the burger that just came off the griddle, and you have to sit down and eat it within 2 minutes. Otherwise, the quality level drops the colder it gets.
and it's so busy, people are like staring you down. Like, are you done yet?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, Wendy's is good. Burger King's kind of making a comeback right now. It's a little bit better. But
Ooh, we're going to disagree we're going to agree to disagree there.
Wendy's shakes are really good, though.
I will say I haven't had Burger King in so many years because it was just the worst of the worst of the worst for the longest time.
Yeah.
That I haven't given them a chance in many years. I'd
rather have White Castle than Burger King. Yep.
Okay. So when we went back east a couple years ago, we went to Hardee's, and I was like, this is not my thing at all. And is there another chain out there called Checker or something like Checkers?
Checkers is out there, yeah.
Yeah, I think Checkers is out east.
I think we have a Checkers.
Do we have them here?
There was one in Brooklyn Park for a while.
Oh, yeah, I haven't had Checkers. I think Checkers is kind of like Rallies.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Checkers, I was just like, this place needs to figure out what it is. Like, it's just kind of all over the place. It's just random. I don't know. I didn't find as many. And then I've heard things like Raising Cane's. It all depends on what state you're in, if it's good or bad. Like here, it's not good. I've heard in Nevada, it's very good. So
I saw it yesterday, actually.
There you go.
There's a new one that's popping up in Minnesota. Freddy's.
Freddy's. What kind of food? Like burgers and fries?
Smash burgers. Kind
Really?
Of. Yeah.
Actually, if you don't mind, I have a question for you guys because I'm curious. What is the best pizza joint?
Oh, like here in our area?
Yeah, like whether it's a chain, whether or not, like, because honestly, you get so many different answers from different states.
If you like Chicago deep dish pizza, I'd go with Giordano's. That's hands down. I think it's one of the best.
Giordano's is very. If you like Chicago deep dish, my personal favorite. Now, if we're going for like a New York style slice, the place in Stillwater, Donatello's, is that what it's called?
The one you missed when we went to eat there?
Yeah, I think it's called Donatello's or whatever it is. No, Melt. No, that's different. So I'm talking about like a traditional New York slice. I think it's called Donatello's in Stillwater, but also in Stillwater, my personal favorite, just because I love this style of pizza. It's kind of like a cross between Sicilian style pizza and Detroit style. It's called Melt Pizzeria.
Okay.
And it is outstanding.
Nice.
It's very good.
Hey, Nate Beck is on.
Nate
Beck.
So I would agree if I'm going to go sit down and eat at the restaurant there. But if I'm grabbing and taking home, Jet's Pizza.
Oh, Jet's is good too.
Okay.
Tony says Donatello's in White Bear Lake.
Oh, that's in White Bear. So the place in Stillwater that I just cannot remember the name of, but there is like a New York style pizzeria in Stillwater that's, I mean, for people who love traditional New York, fold the slice kind of pizza, that's the place to go.
Okay.
In Stillwater.
Nice.
Justin,
what's up?
The zombies.
You want to do? You want to do it?
Yeah. You ready, Eric?
Yeah.
The zombies are coming. You get 3 cigar industry people to be on your zombie apocalypse survival squad. Who do you pick and why?
My mind went to a bad place that I shouldn't say. So that's a good question. I would say I feel like whether good or bad, Espinosa is going to have a plan. like Espinosa's gonna be like, bro,
Yeah.
this is what we're gonna do, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that, but no, this is gonna be the best plan ever, man.
You run over here, bro. I'm gonna run over here, bro. Yeah.
Guy Fieri will meet you in the middle. Yeah, no, I feel like probably based on wanting to survive, one of the dudes from Hooten and Young, because they've been in like the project.
Yes.
Even though we don't carry his brand, I have listened to their stuff a lot. I'm like, yeah, he's probably someone you'd want on your side for sure. That's a good question. For some reason, Terrence Riley. I think it's like when you're held up and you're hunkered down, it's the campfire or whatever, and everyone's like on edge. I feel like he could probably set people to like calm down.
He'd start talking like deep philosophy.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd start reading Jung or, old, he'd find some old, book in a dead language that he knows how to still read. Right. And he'll read it in English to everybody and just kind of put you all in this mellow sort of spiritual place.
Yeah. And we'll all be like sitting like completely exhausted, super stressed out. Like everyone's got like the firelight on their like like eyes, and then they'll be dead silent out of nowhere. He'll be like, greatest night of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jason Pohl, viewer. Yes, thank you. Victoriano's in Stillwater. That's the New York pizza joint. And my son and I love to go there, but now that he's had the pizza at Melt's, that's the only place he wants to go.
So good there.
It's been ruined.
Yeah.
Brody, yes, I do love you, buddy.
All right, so let's move into this week's notable smokables, brought to us by Don Doroteo Cigars, a brand with both purpose and passion, dedicated to creating change from within. By developing their own land, they're able to own the entire process throughout the life cycle of the plant, and they methodically carry out each step, ensuring that the final product is of the finest quality. The new Salt of the Earth lines, Piedra Viva and Piedra Angular, are available now at Don Doroteo retail partners. Visit dondoroteo.com to learn more. All right. So, Eric, each week.
This is my favorite picture of you.
You're showing. So Raul's like breaking into the show just to like, this is me taking a bite out of a massive tenderloin sandwich.
I was looking for my notable smokables because I got to take a picture of it because I'm getting old and I forget. And that just popped up.
And that just, great. I really appreciate that. Thanks for showing that on the air too, by the way. Really appreciate it.
It's like the George scene in Seinfeld when he's like,
you know this about me. Whenever we go out, I'm going to probably get the worst picture you can possibly take. And I'm gonna post it. It's just how it goes.
That's all right. What are you gonna do? So Eric, each week on the show, we all name a cigar that we smoked recently that was notable to us. Now, this could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades that we revisited for the first time in a really long time, or it could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we tried for the first time ever. So what's something you smoked recently that really stood out to you?
We just got them in, and I smoked it at PCA and loved it. Is the new Viva La Vida Jester 5th anniversary. It's a flat bellicoso, and it's really unique because it's got, AJ does all their blending, of course. It has this wrapper that is a Habano seed that's grown in Connecticut River Valley, fermented to be a Maduro. So it's not necessarily a Connecticut broadleaf, but it's a Connecticut Maduro, and it's really, really good. It's definitely worth checking out.
Nice. Justin, what's notable for you this week?
Been working 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, a couple days a week this week, the other job. So been very, very busy with my business partner that we got going on. But we had a chance on Saturday night to barbecue at my house. His kid was over there with us, my fiance. And after we got done, finally got to relax, and I gave him his first Opus X that he's ever had. So that Opus X 20th anniversary father and son size was a good treat for us to have after a long work week. So
absolutely, that's a good way to celebrate.
Very nice.
Mission accomplished. Raul, what about you?
Mine was Adventura Chancellor.
Oh, the new one. Yeah, I've heard good things.
I smoked it, then I went back and bought a box.
Okay, that's high praise. Absolutely. My notable this week was one that has been talked about for ages, and I finally took one out of the cello and cut it and lit it. It's ironic too because I wrote this down before we even went live, but going back to Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, the Sober Mesa Brulee Wagashi edition.
You finally had one, huh?
Finally smoked one.
Delicious.
That cigar is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the Brulee as it is, but something about that box press, it's like vanilla ice cream and angels like gently caressing your brow with their wings. And
did it make you feel moist?
No, it made me feel like
moist.
I was like in another world. I love that cigar.
We just dropped that on our website tonight. Actually, it's an amazing cigar.
Really
amazing. Yeah, I'm a big sucker for box press. I know that's one thing I love about this industry is the amount of opinions. It's like, no, you can't say like that's the right opinion, that's the wrong opinion. It's all preference. But for something about box press, I think it works, and I was really happy to see a Brulee version that was box pressed.
I really like the way box press burns. The way I smoke it burns nicely for me.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into coming attractions. These are some things you can find coming up soon on How About That Cigar Live, brought to us by Hoagland Insurance. Hoagland Insurance, they are excited to serve and educate any new customers and give existing customers a refresher, whether it's a business policy, auto insurance, home policy, or life insurance. If you are currently insured or just looking for a quote, Tony Hoagland and his team would love to create a personal price plan just for you. Mention How About That Cigar when you make your first appointment, and Tony will have a free cigar just for you. For more information, please call 763-421-4900 or visit champlaininsurance.com. All right, next week on the show, another edition of Hidden Gems. We have none other than Ronnie Heisha from Secreto Cigar Bar in the Detroit area. We will have no show on April 29th, but then coming back again on May 6th, we have a Hollywood actor, a guy we met at the PCA trade show.
With a great voice.
Gino Cigars. So he's been in a number of different Hollywood productions, TV and film. He was in Yellowstone and Banshee and Bone Tomahawk. And among
he was in some Disney
Channel stuff too as well. Gino Cigars has the voice that could I mean, it's just one of these deep low voices that sounds like it's coming from like
Andre the Giant.
It's just incredible. Great voice, great dude. We hung out with him for a while at the PCA trade.
He walked by us and I'm like, you're he goes, nope, it's not me. He shook his head and then he goes, nope, it's not me. I go, the hell it ain't. Like that voice is so distinct.
He's got a Sam Elliott voice.
It might, I'm not going to say it's better, but it's a great voice. Sam Elliott's hard to beat. So Eric, first of all, thank you so much for being on How About That Cigar Live, brother.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was awesome hanging out with you guys, and like I said, long-time listener, so it was really cool. I appreciate it.
Can you do me one favor? And I don't know if you have it out there on Instagram yet. Sometime in the next week or whenever, can you do a tour of your humidor?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Totally should.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Instagram, if you would please give our viewers and listeners an idea, where is the best place for them to keep up with everything you guys everything you guys have going on, and if they want to get joined up with your Cigar Society club. Sorry about that. My brain just tied in a knot.
No worries. So yeah, I mean, first and foremost, of course, OakGlenTobacconist.com is our website. That's where we have a calendar for events, and some of our events are virtual. So like tomorrow we jump on our podcast called Cigars and Cinema. Every cigar, as we know, is in first third, second third, final third. And so likewise, movie, act 1, act 2, act 3. So we go through the movie and analyze the movie while we analyze the cigar. So it's kind of cool. But aside from that is where we have all of our whole humidor is online. As well as our email list. If you guys want like exclusive deals, I think at midnight we end our Drew Estate, like amazing deal. So it's a good way to get it on like the inside of limited releases and such like that. So join our email list. And then our membership is on the main like homepage, either on the header, OGT Cigar Society, or it's usually listed on the homepage. And it's an awesome community to really try. Like if you want to delve into the boutique world of cigars, try some awesome like custom blends, such like that, please check it out. It's not a contract at all. Try it for a month, check it out. It's you get a 5-pack of a single blend that are done by some of our favorite blenders. And then our Instagram is at OGT Cigars, and that's where we have a lot of our educational videos, as well as our YouTube channel, Oak Glen Tobacconist, or OGT Cigars on YouTube. And we just kind of do a lot of like, we'll give you the lowdown on some of the brands that we have, whether it's a review or it's news involving that, or just some kind of like cigar 101 stuff, like how to light your cigar and how to appropriately like retrohale and such like that. So that's really cool to check out. We're also on Facebook. We're also on TikTok. And yeah, it's just, we're just kind of out there. Check it out. And we'd love to have you guys stop by.
Fantastic.
I love your stuff, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
I think I follow you on everything except for TikTok, and I'll fix that tonight.
Well, I appreciate it. TikTok's one of those animals that it seems like it changes every week. And like, I personally don't like the format of TikTok. I don't like to be on TikTok, but as a business owner, that is part of the future of what you got to do. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
but yeah, we do same short clips on there. And it's pretty cool. It's a cool community.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, brother, for being on. We appreciate it so much. Keep up the good work. And if we make it out that way, we'll definitely stop by. And if you're ever in the Minnesota area, hit us up and we'll get together someplace for a cigar sometime.
Definitely. Love to do it. And again, thank you guys so much. It was an awesome time.
Absolutely. All right, viewers and listeners, guys, thanks so much for being the best part of How About That Cigar Live. We appreciate you so much watching live on Facebook and YouTube and all the other places. Click on all the big, beautiful buttons. We appreciate it so much. And, if you're not subscribed yet, why?
Yeah, why?
You should definitely just click on the subscribe button, because when you click on the subscribe button, it helps you by not missing any content, and it helps us.
Well, they should. Anyway,
help me help you. Yeah. Help me help you. No, guys, thank you so much. And of course, if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, we appreciate that as well so much. Make sure to follow us on your favorite audio podcast platform. If you have questions for us, you can email us on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Be sure to follow us on all your favorite social media platforms at HBT Cigar. And of course, until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Thanks, guys. Any comments, opinions, viewpoints, or statements presented or uttered by guests on the HBTC podcast, HBTC live video streams, and all other media from HBT Media LLC are solely those of the individual and do not necessarily represent the opinions or viewpoints of How About That Cigar or its parent company, HBT Media LLC, any of our advertising partners, or the premium cigar industry. The primary purpose of How About That Cigar is to entertain and to encourage activity and growth within the community of people who enjoy or want to learn about the enjoyment of premium cigars.